to death in absentia for war crimes and treason. Kabila was convicted by a military court of treason, crimes against humanity and war crimes, charges he denies. According to the court, Kabila is the leader of the AFC M23 coalition, conducting inspections at training centers, overseeing rebel staff meetings, and directs hostilities against the DRC. Kabila's current whereabouts are unknown, and to unpack this for us, we are joined on the line by the head of our Kiswahili desk, Nixon Katembo. Nixon, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon, Lulu, and good afternoon to our listeners.
Now, Nixon, while the high military court sentenced the former president to death in absentia, his whereabouts are unknown. What now, and what does this mean?
I think it points to the murky nature of the politics in the DRC in the sense that President Tshisekedi is trying to consolidate power while the country is burning, and where you need consensus and the diplomatic starts to prevail, then you lit fire on a person of influence such as former President Joseph Kabila, who, by the way, is very important and crucial to the peace processes in the DRC, given his stature and given his position towards the M23. And this might even put more fire on already a situation that is very tense in the country.
Kabila has been accused of supporting the M23 for many years, and he has denied it on numerous occasions. Where exactly do these accusations come from? And you touch on something that's very key, the fact that the president of the DRC is seemingly focusing on not big issues, but there are bigger issues that should be getting the focus.
I think those accusations emanate from Kabila's position. One, going to the M23 controlled area in eastern DRC, in particular in Goma. Two, declaring that when he left power, peaceful power, he said that he is not going, but he will come back. And I think that points to a position where he is likely to vie for political power. And the third is the aspect of the consolidation of power between, on the part of the President Tshisekedi. Remember, he wanted to change the constitution, the M23 took control of the town of Bukavu and Goma, therefore changing the calculus of changing the constitution and focusing on the mediation. That led to the Doha negotiations, the Luanda negotiations, as well as the American negotiated the mineral deal for peace. In other words, mortgaging the resources of the country just to secure his own power. So the latest is in the grand scheme, in my view, of President Tshisekedi to throw a span in the works already of a situation that is complex. And I think this is going to be very difficult because in any event where diplomatic strategy has to be applied, in this case of the DRC, and to make sure that both negotiating sides reach a compromise instead of sentencing the former president to death, which might harden the position that those who are around him see it as an affront on their position. And already remember, Lulu, that the M23 have issued a statement saying that these are trumped-up charges. It shows a lack of leadership in Kinshasa, and saying that it's now giving him reasons to march towards removing President Tshisekedi from power through the force of arms. So where necessary, that diplomacy should have been the key cornerstone of any negotiations between the parties. Instead, the sentencing of this former president is going likely to even complicate matters.
Now, in terms of, as you say, it could lead to complications and instability in a nation that is already going through a crisis. What now needs to happen? How should Kabila handle this death sentence that he's now being given by the military court in absentia? How should he then respond to this?
I think the only way to respond to this death sentence is the removal of President Tshisekedi from power. I don't see any other way that Kabila can employ. Remember, all his assets have been freezed by the government. You talk about the Kingakati farms, his interest in mining, his interest in aviation, his interest in retail in Kinshasa are already under control of the government, and that creates a serious problem where you have a former president with a huge following being treated in this manner. And in the remainder, you have to bring it back home here in South Africa, where there was a compromise between the former apartheid government as well as the ANC that was coming in power for the sake of stability and development of the country, despite the fact that not all parties were happy about the negotiations. And I think this is, in my view, what should have been the position of the government in trying to make sure that they bring everyone together to find a solution to the problem that the country is facing, instead of which hand that the government is currently going on. President Tshisekedi himself, his mandate is ending in 2028. I wonder whether when he go out of power, what political precedent is setting, because that which is he applied to former president can virtually apply to himself. And I think it's high time to look at the interest of the country as a nation to prosper democratically and peacefully, so to end the wars and to put the country towards the economic path of development, rather than looking at the interest of political elite and fighting among themselves through the use of courts, through the use of force of arms, rather than looking at the broader prospect for the country itself.
Yeah. Well, Nixon, we are going to have to leave it there for today. Thank you for joining us on Africa Update. That's the head of our Kiswahili desk, Nixon Katembo, ending that discussion. It is 19 after 12 Central African time, and today on hashtag Africa Update Ask, we focus on the Democratic Republic of Congo as former President Joseph Kabila having been sentenced to death in absentia for war crimes and treason. Now, our question to you today on hashtag Africa Update Ask is, what do you make of this? Share your thoughts and your views on all our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes to +2763. That's 406 9126. Hashtag Africa Update Us.
Our CISA.